I've decided to forgo reading the poem I was going to read because of, let me start with, at the beginning of the Mulch magazine, Harry Lewis wanted me to have an interview with John Wieners. I wrote John, and he answered, "I will come if I interview you and you interview me, you with your brush and me with my plume." And he came, and I picked him up at the bus station, and I picked him up in Harry's little tin it. Now, John and I were at Black Mountain together, and this interview took place, but it didn't take place. What happened was we got very high, and we talked, and we talked, and we talked. And then when we turned the goddamn thing on, it was, yeah, ooh, ha, ha. Oh yeah? You really did? Anyway, it went on and on and on. It was never done. But one of the things we managed to talk about was, one of the things that was familiar to both of us was, neither one of us wanted to get stopped. So we went crazy. And Robbie asked me to tell this story. Some of you have heard it, some of you haven't. It was 1953. I was just over 17. He's a year older. Dig. He knocks on my door. He's standing there with a dress, a colored dress, a wig, and heels. And he says, "Darling, take me to Peaks." Peaks was the one bar in the Dry County. It was 3 miles from Black Mountain. John walked mostly on the grass, holding his shoes. We got there. Now you've got to dig this place. This was a, not blue collar, it was rough. And also Montreat was on the other side of the mountain, and they used to come and drink there too. So what you had was the truckers, the farmers, and the locals, Montreat and Black Mountain. And sometimes it was tense. But at this particular time, John and I walk into the bar. I also have to explain the bar was run by a woman by the name of Barbara. Barbara was part Indian. She had 4 children by 4 different men. And she went to the Baptist church every Sunday. The children were clean, and the town respected her. In fact, she really liked us. She used to come up to the school and drink with us. But what John did was, we sat down, started having a beer. All of a sudden, he got up, and he went over, and he sat on this guy's lap, and he said, "Darling, let me feed you." Well, this motherfucker looked at him like, "God damn you," and pushed him aside. John got up and went to another guy and did the same thing. He kept doing this until they started pushing him around. Barbara came over to me and said, I'm cutting this very short. Barbara came over to me and said, "Basil, Ma Peak has phoned the sheriff." Now the sheriff was her cousin, and he looked like Bull Connors. John, I got hold of John out, somehow I managed to get him out of there, and for a moment we started running, and then all of a sudden the 2 of us, Doug, just realized if we ran, they'd get us and they'd kill us. So we stopped, and we just stood there. By this time he had lost his wig, his shoes were gone, and I looked at the sheriff, and I saw him taking a look at us. And to this day, I don't know what the hell possessed me. I walked over to the sheriff and I said, "Sheriff, is your mother alive?" And he said, "Yes." I said, "John has just lost his mother. He's not like this. He's never like this. He's never like this." swear it was like he melted. He drove us back to the college, and John and I never talked about this until that day that we had the interview. And that is the truth. That's one of the stories we did. There were many others, but that's one of the that's one of the stories that actually, maybe you don't know the name of Andrew Crozier, who was a terrific English poet, ran the American department at Sussex. And I started telling him the story. And he said, I know the story. John's told me the story. Write the damn thing. So I did. Anyway, thank you very much.